Long story, I will try to boil it down. I am a 46-year-old female, and my brother is a 35-year-old male. My brother is the golden child, and ever since he was born, my mother was never the same toward me. I've never held that against him, as he didn't choose this role. I know he feels guilty even though it's not his fault, and I tell him that. I practically raised my brother from the age of 6 months old to 5 years old when I moved out. I was 11 years old when I started taking care of him, changing diapers, feeding him, bathing him, and putting him to sleep. I used to take him with me to visit and play with my friends. I loved him like he was my own son and still considered him my first child. My mom has periodically been verbally abusive toward me since I was 11 years old, screaming at me, calling me ungrateful, spoiled, and untrustworthy, although I have never been any of those things. When she wasn't being abusive, she was either a loving mom or distant and neglectful. This obviously messed with my head as I loved the loving mom. But the other side of her has been hurting me for 35 years. She has only said sorry once, and it was in a mocking, childish way. Sorry, okay, sorry. My mom is also incredibly manipulative. I've tried to forgive her and given her a second chance over and over for 35 years. And for 35 years, I have suffered the abuse 2 to 3 times a year, and a lot more often when I was a teenager. I have suffered through all of this for my brother's sake. I didn't want to leave him behind with only my mom as family. Our dad died when my brother was 14. He was verbally abusive too. After my mom's last attack, I was done. I have a chronic pain condition that is affected by stress and is getting worse with every attack, not to mention my mental health is suffering. I cut contact with my mom in February, and my brother has been trying to get me to forgive her and let her back into my life ever since. I can't take the abusive mom anymore, but I am also grieving the loving mom I'm losing too. My brother kept guilt-tripping me, and I finally lost it. I screamed at him, "Do you have any idea what dark places mom makes me go to? That last time she attacked me, I didn't want to be here anymore." I was desperately trying to make him understand. He hung up on me. I wrote him a very long message explaining everything I've gone through and that he needed to respect my decision and my boundaries. The next Monday, I got a phone call from my doctor. She needed to do a welfare check on me, as my mom had called her, with concern for my well-being. I wrote to my brother, "I asked you to respect my boundaries and you contact my doctor?" Wow. His answer, "You're sick and need help. I will talk to you when you're better." I am devastated and unbelievably hurt, and I haven't responded. It has now been more than 2 months with no communication. I realize that he is being manipulated by my mom, but I'm still incredibly hurt. My brother and I have always been very close, and this is killing me. This is making me second-guess everything. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole? Let's get some relevant comments and OP's response to them. First up, I read it as worse that brother told the mother private information between them. Then mother called the police. My mom had called her with concern for her well-being. If OP's brother had called for a welfare check, given he might have understood I didn't want to be here anymore. As SI or a plea for help, that would be different. But sharing OP's condition with their mother when OP had blamed her was the betrayal. OP replies, "Yes, my brother told my mother, and knowing my mom, she used the information to manipulate him, saying things like, 'See, I told you she is mentally ill. I think we must call her doctor and have her committed. I think it's best you leave her alone.' That would be just the thing she would say for the sole purpose of putting a wedge between us. She has always been jealous of how close we are. But what did she expect would happen? When she handed 11-year-old me my 6-month-old brother and basically said, 'Here you go, take care of him. I'm going to lay in bed, read magazines, and eat chocolate.' Next person says, 'Don't ever speak to them again. You have to block them on everything and move away if you must. You can't afford to have these people in your life, or your mental health will continue to suffer. You have to face the fact that these people don't give an F about you and never have. Good luck.' OP responds, 'Thank you. My mom is blocked on everything, but moving away is not an option for me. I choose to leave the door open a tiny bit for my brother, just in case he ever realizes that he's being manipulated. But I refuse to reach out to him, and if he reaches out to me, it better be with an apology. Next opinion says, going no contact with mother, and possibly by extension the brother, makes sense given the mother's mental abuse and the brother's unwillingness to accept OP's boundaries regarding their mother. That said, OP did mention to her brother possibly wanting to end herself after an argument. With the mother calling for a wellness check, it makes sense in that situation. D replies, I don't think it makes sense asking for a wellness check from my doctor 8 months after said incident. It was my mother who called the doctor 2 months ago after the fight with my brother. It was a brief spiraling into the dark that I was able to pull myself out of in about 20 minutes. Something I have had to do after every attack since I was 11 years old. He knows this. He saw me every day for 2 weeks over the summer and could see with his own eyes that I was okay. He was trying to mend things between my mother and me then too. When he tried to guilt trip me 2 months ago, I finally snapped and yelled at him to stop and respect my boundaries, that I couldn't allow my mother to push me into the darkness anymore. He then went to my mother and she contacted my doctor. Sorry if I'm not being clear. It's hard to boil it down to a few sentences. Another thought, your brother is an adult now. You even said he noticed how mom treated him better and felt guilty. He very well can make his own decisions, and no one has to scream and fight just to tell her she cannot treat you that way. It's been this way his whole life, and all you've tried to do is help. He's not putting up with the treatment of you anymore. She can change, or contact will be cut. OP replies, thank you. He has spoken up for me before on a couple of occasions, so I still have hope that he will see how much hurt he caused me, that he will apologize and respect my boundaries. I will never allow my mom back into my life, as I don't believe she will ever change. That bridge is burned for me, but my brother has never hurt me like this before. I still very much want him in my life, but I will not be the one trying to reach out to him. He needs to decide if he wants me in his life and see the error of his ways. Now for the update. First of all, thank you for all the support. It means a lot to me. I didn't think I would get this many responses. First, a little extra information, as this is relevant. My brother lives in another country and visits twice a year, in summer and at Christmas. I have hosted Christmas for the last 20 or so years, and he has spent nearly every Christmas with me, something I always look forward to. He sleeps at our mom's house, since she has a guest bedroom, but spends hours at my place every day he's here. We celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve in my country. My mom lives 5 minutes away on foot, so she is very close to my house. Now for the update. I learned from my oldest daughter that my brother came to town on December 16th. I didn't hear anything from him. I was miserable. My boyfriend saw me getting more and more sad and depressed as the days led up to Christmas Eve. The thought of him leaving the country again without me seeing him was ripping my heart apart, and my boyfriend knew that. He is a younger brother with an older sister himself, and he told me that my brother was undoubtedly too scared to reach out to me. Big sisters are scary when they're mad. After a lot of persuasion, he got me to reach out to my brother. He suggested that I message him, "Want to talk?" I couldn't get myself to do that. So instead, I sent him a gif of a woman opening her door, smiling with a big welcome sign by the door. Then I waited. Nothing. No reply. Christmas Eve comes and I'm in no mood to celebrate, but I have to get it together for the kids' sake. I go take a shower and hear the pling from my phone. It's a message from my brother. "Can I come give you a hug? I'm sorry I hurt you. I was afraid I had damaged our relationship forever." I felt like sobbing with relief. I told him, "Of course you can." He came over after dinner and we talked. There were tears from both of us, especially from him. It was plain to see that this had taken a toll on him as well. He was genuinely sorry and told me it was our mother who had contacted my doctor, not him. I already knew that. He said he had accepted that my mom and I were better off being apart and that the relationship couldn't be saved. This was everything I had hoped for. We spent the rest of his trip reconnecting, talking, and playing board games like we always do. This was my Christmas miracle. I got my baby brother back. He flew back home today. Story 2. Some background. I have been with my fiancée Jade since my daughter Katie, 8, was 2.5 years old. Katie's mother, Ari, 34F, left me when she was almost 2, but lived with me for about 6 months until I finally told her she had to leave. Our relationship was toxic. She was awful to me and has used our daughter against me for a very long time. Jade encouraged me to get a court order, and I was able to get 50-50 legal custody, even though I do more for Katie than Ari ever has. Ari has always been awful to Jade. Jade has her blocked on everything and only communicates with her when it's necessary, which is rare. Jade and I have a son who is almost 1. This is the long story short. Jade was out for the day with her friends, and I was using her iPad to stream a movie to the TV for my daughter since her iPad was in Jade's car. It was dead, and when I plugged it in, texts started popping up from the night prior, one of which said, "You ever think maybe you should just leave him?" I know it's not right to go through phones, but this obviously caught my attention, and I'll admit, I snooped. Jade responded by saying she could never do that to Katie and loves us both. But she also said at some point in the conversation that she sometimes wishes I never met Katie's mother, and essentially that Katie was never born so she could have a nuclear family with just the 3 of us. She follows up by saying it's not because she doesn't love Katie, it's just because of how hard her mom makes it. She talks about traits in Katie that are obviously from her mother, how she hopes she grows up to be nothing like her. She talks about how sometimes when Katie's gone, she gets anxiety the night before, mourning. She's going to come back because she knows Katie being here. Potential drama from her mom. She says she cries sometimes, mourning the family she could have had with me had I never met Ari and had Katie. Katie adores Jade. She has asked to call her mom, always wants to hang with her. Jade always plans cool things for her and volunteers at her school. I know they love each other, and I'm not even mad at Jade because I know she went through a lot with Ari. Because I went through a lot with Ari, and in the beginning, I know I could have done more to protect Jade. The list is long of awful things Ari has done, and the court order details prove that. She also says in her messages that she would never say these things to me because she doesn't want me to feel bad. I know I shouldn't have gone through the messages, but seeing someone text the woman you want to spend your life with, inquiring about her leaving you, will make anyone panic. She is the happiest, most bubbly, kindest person I know and brightens anyone's day. I hate that she feels this way. I guess I just want to know if this is something I should address. How would you feel about seeing these messages regarding your child?